Great, thanks so much. I appreciate the introduction, and it's so good to be with all of you today. Thanks so much for hanging in there till after 5 o'clock on a long day. And so we'll go ahead. I'm just going to click really quick to get back to the presentation and progress this. So yes. We're talking about Plant Safe Lives, and we were going to make it just kind of a second webinar off the first Plant Forward webinar, and then thought, well, wouldn't it be a lot of fun as we're heading into the holidays to give you some tips and tricks and great things to get you through the holidays that are Plant Forward. And with that, let us begin. So our objectives today. 5 steps, not going to say they're easy steps, but it's 5 steps. We're going to cover the why, your holiday meal plans, how you can implement this, how to assess how you're doing, and then how to maintain through the year. So for your why, Dr. Joy, I'm going to hand this back over to you.
All right. Well, you know, as I was doing a little bit of investigation around holiday meal eating, I was pretty stunned to come across this statistic that, you know, the average holiday meal, not day, but meal, is somewhere between 2,700 and 3,000 calories for a meal. Now, keep in mind that for a 26 to 50-year-old woman, the recommended daily intake calorie count is 2,000 calories per day. You know, for a 26 to 45-year-old man, it's about 2,600 calories per day, and for older men, just a little bit less. And yet our holiday meals are fairly dense when it comes to calories. And the winner is our most upcoming holiday, and that's Thanksgiving, coming in at our 4,500 plus calories for a meal, for the Thanksgiving meal. You know, and the Christmas meal, about 4,000 calories, New Year's Eve meal, 3,100 calories. And you may think, oh, I can splurge every now and again. What's the big deal, right? So it's just one meal. Except think about it, man. You know, the holiday season is upon us, and it seems to, you know, all happen in the period of about 5 or 6 weeks. And so, you know, it's not just the meals we have, but it's also, you know, all of the holiday parties and so on that we go to. Interestingly, there was a prospective study of holiday weight gain. It was actually published in the New England Journal about 20 years ago. And it looked specifically to see, you know, how much weight do people actually gain, you know, during the holidays. And so I'd like all of you to participate here. I didn't actually have time to put this into a polling question, so you're gonna have to put it in the chat. So put in the chat which of these numbers you think it is. Do you think people on average gain 5 pounds during the holidays, 2.5 pounds, less than half a pound, 1 pound, or 1/10 of a pound? So I'm going to open up the chat now, and you guys put in 1 through 5. Tell me what you think it is, or you can put in the weight. You can see a few guesses here: 2.5, 2, 5, 5, 5. 5 seems to be the winner here. A lot of group think here that it's 5 pounds. Excellent. 2.5. All right, Robin, let's show them what paper shows. Believe it or not, you know, the average holiday weight gain, you know, that they found was 0.37 kilos, which is about 0.1 pounds. Far less than what was commonly asserted to be holiday weight gain. But they do find that, you know, this weight gain tends to accumulate over time and leads to overweight and obesity that we see as people go through adulthood. So next slide, please. So I put this in here because, you know, I knew about this paper. Comes from Circulation. It was published back in 2004. You know, that cardiac mortality is higher around Christmas and New Year's than any other time, and the holidays as a risk factor for death. And there are lots of different things that contribute to this. People don't see their doctors frequently. If they're having symptoms of chest pain. They may not go to the emergency room because they don't want to disrupt a family celebration. They may not be taking medications on a regular basis. They decrease their exercise. They get less sleep because they're up so late playing Santa Claus. But the other components of it are related to lifestyle, and particularly around nutrition and drinking more alcohol, having higher amounts of salt in your diet, increased blood pressure, and are also independently associated with a higher risk of cardiac conditions. So it's not just how much you eat, but actually what you eat. So with all of that into consideration, let's go to the next slide, please, and talk about why a plant-forward lifestyle can be helpful. And these are all evidence-based that it can help lower your blood pressure, definitely can keep your heart healthy, it can help prevent type 2 diabetes, it can help with weight loss efforts and improve your mood, can improve your gut function, and we're oftentimes talking about the microbiome and how that is contributing to overall health. Keeps your brain strong, really strong evidence around the relationship between plant-forward or plant-based diets and a reduction in incident cognitive decline. Can help you not only live longer, but live better, decrease your risk of cancer, many cancers, decrease your risk of stroke. It leads to a reduction in inflammation in your body and can even reduce the severity of COVID symptoms. So all the reasons why we ought to be having a conversation about plant-forward diets, and why Robin and I think that plants can save lives during the holidays. Robin, turn it over to you.
Yes, thank you. And so those are the health benefits. Of course, that's most important. But if you're also thinking of other reasons or whys for moving plant forward, there are financial benefits, there are environmental benefits, and there are even societal benefits, one being that it helps lower the cost of healthcare. So for a little bit of inspiration before we jump into our next section, this is how Santa's been doing since he started his plant-forward diet. That's inspiring, I think. So your holiday meal plan, just some quick tips to start small. You want to set expectations with your friends and family, guests that are coming to your house, or if you're taking a meal to someone else's party, set the expectations that, hey, I'm trying to move plant forward. I'm going to try a different recipe this year, or I might not be bringing the traditional recipe, and just share your why with them. And then change up your menu. You don't have to change your whole menu all at once. Maybe it's just 1 or 2 items on your menu that you're going to try something new. You want to start with just 1 or 2 plant-based recipes and make them maybe the side or the dessert, not the entree. And then eat plant-based prior to the holiday dinner. So maybe you know that you do really want to enjoy some turkey for Thanksgiving dinner, but breakfast or brunch or lunch, that's where you're going to really have your plant-forward meals before your holiday meal. And then reduce your portion of animal origin foods. And we'll talk about that a little bit later in the presentation. And reduce the size of your dinner plates. So anytime you have a smaller plate, you're going to put less on it. And it really helps and still makes you feel full when you're looking at your meal. And then I would just caution not tweaking your beloved traditional recipes. What I've experienced in the past is when I've encouraged people, hey, take that recipe that you normally make and change an ingredient or two. Most families who are expecting something that they've had for years are going to pick up quickly if you've changed the beloved recipe. So maybe just stick with that one favorite recipe from Grandma and change something else up instead. We'll do a quick review here before we talk about meal plans. This is what plant forward looks like. So 50% of your plate should be fruits and vegetables. About 25% of your plate should be grains, and those should be whole grains. And then the other 25%, quarter of your plate, should be your proteins. And that can be either a smaller portion of meat or a healthier meat like chicken or salmon, or trying beans and legumes and nuts. So there's 5 meal plans that I have in the presentation. We're not going to have time to talk about each one of them today, but this is just an example of the Thanksgiving meal plan. So traditional meals, you would see we'd have roast turkey, mashed potatoes and turkey gravy, yam casserole with marshmallows, and green bean casserole with French onions, cranberry sauce, and pumpkin pie with whipped topping. But if we wanted to change that up, we could change and have an appetizer of sweet potato avocado bites, and we are going to include recipes in the information that we send out, so that will be one of them. And you'll notice that I kept the turkey on here as an entree with vegetable stuffing. And one thing that you can do is maybe you traditionally buy like a 20 or 24-pound turkey or a large turkey, and instead, given that the serving size should be just 3 to 4 ounces, maybe you should look at buying or purchasing a 16-pound turkey or a 12-pound turkey. That way, people will automatically take smaller portions, but then you're not going to be eating that for days after the holiday, and you can more quickly transition to your plant-based meal plans. And then mashed potatoes with mushroom and thyme gravy, baked yams with pecans, green beans almondine, and pumpkin bars with oat and nut crumble. These plant-forward recipes, they're higher in nutrients, higher in fiber, and lower in added sugars or unhealthier fats. For a Christmas meal plan, you might have had like your puff pastry, holly leaves, your prime rib, which is a higher fat cut of beef, potatoes au gratin, maple ginger glazed carrots, cream corn, or your dinner rolls with fruit cake or Yule log cake. And what you could transition that to would be rosemary pecan goat cheese truffles, maybe a beef tenderloin, which is a leaner cut of meat, and onion and mushroom gravy, horseradish mashed potatoes and cauliflower, roasted Brussels sprouts with pumpkin seeds and figs, adding a little bit of fruit in there to sweeten it up, and some baked butternut squash, and for dessert, gingerbread and baked pears. Another thing, we have the Latin Christmas meal plan. So some favorite Latin dishes are listed here, and some plant-friendly or forward options like crab stuffed avocados and fingerling potatoes with parsley, maybe a panna cotta for dessert instead of the Yule log cake, or panettone, which is a traditional fruit cake. And then we have a Kwanzaa meal plan that you can review, and a Hanukkah meal plan as well. Very similar tweaks. I'll just share, if you really want to be brave and change up the entree, so completely move away from the turkey and the ham or the pork loin, there are a lot of great options out there. So a mushroom spinach Wellington or a lentil Wellington, a cranberry glazed lentil loaf, or maybe even a wild rice pilaf stuffed squash. Everybody's always asking about protein. You know, if they take the meat off the menu, a lot of people are always, how am I going to get my protein? And a lot of different protein options out there. So tofu, seeds, beans, lentils, quinoa, many vegetables are high in protein. Adding nuts and nut butters can also help. If you've got like a rice pilaf with nut butter mix, or chickpeas and soy milk mixed into your recipes, great ways to add protein. And most of the time, you can get just as much protein from these plant-forward options as you can from meat options without all those unhealthy fats and cholesterol. So implementation. Things to remember, it's not a short-term diet, it's a long-term lifestyle change. So you don't have to just flip the switch tomorrow and start doing this 100%. And keeping it simple. So when you're putting your menus together, just pick one menu item, make it something that's familiar. Plan time for meal preparation, and then practice some of your new recipes before you actually serve them to friends and family. Have other familiar options available and expand options as you go. So as you get better and better at this and you find the recipes that you really like and that your friends and family like, then just keep adding to those. And that's a picture of like that stuffed butternut squash. It's really beautiful. It's fun to eat and delicious. And that would fill you up right there. Dr. Joy, I'll hand this back over to you.
And of course, a big part of, really achieving those long-term lifestyle changes is not only, improving your dietary intake, but working on other lifestyle behaviors. And I really like the way one of our caregivers, Liz Monson, put it on a recent call, kind of the 4 pillars. One is physical activity, one is dietary intake, one is sleep, and the other is around stress management. So, maybe a new a tradition or habit, you would take up with your family is to have some more activity in and around the holidays. And maybe, before you start cooking and baking, your family goes for a 5K run or a walk, or at my household, we'd probably go for a hike. Maybe you do a family yoga session or join a local turkey trot. And maybe not everybody knows, but doing some physical activity after eating, like just even going for a moderate intensity walk, can significantly lower blood glucose. So if you have family members who have type 2 diabetes or pre-diabetes, going for a walk, leave those dirty dishes on the table, and go for a walk after the meal, or go and play a game like throw the football around, can really help with blood glucose control after eating, and you'll probably feel a lot better.
Yeah, I'll just add in there that the Utah Food Bank is sponsoring a Thanksgiving Day run next week, and I can put the link in the chat after we're finished here. So another great opportunity to support the Utah Food Bank. And then just another suggestion, try to make it fun. Look for fun recipes that people are going to want to try, kids will want to try. Make it small bites, and just try to have fun with your new options. So step 4, assessing how it goes during the holidays. You'll want to gauge the feedback, ask your family and friends what they thought. Did they like it? Do they feel good about trying plant forward options? Build on your successes. Don't get discouraged. Not every recipe is a winner for every family, so just keep trying. And then find plant forward friends. It's always great to have friends who can keep you encouraged and share recipes and just keep it fun. And maintaining through the new year. How do you continue this? So eat better, not less. Seek out whole foods. Sample some meat alternatives. And so I wouldn't sample, like, you'll see a lot of Impossible Burger or Beyond Burger in your local stores now in the freezer section. And they have like the pre-made hamburger patties and other options that are pre-formed, but they also have the ground versions. And what I've liked to try is putting the ground version in maybe a chili that you would normally serve your family. And sometimes family will be like, wow, that was really good. It tasted different, but I don't know quite what the difference was. So maybe start in your stews or your chilies or those things where it's a little bit masked and people have to figure out, oh, that was a meat alternative, because it does taste pretty close to the real thing. And then get your family and friends and colleagues involved in finding those new recipes, and just don't forget your why. Finally, just remember, Select Health does offer 5 free visits with a registered dietitian each year. So you can contact the Intermountain dietitians and set up appointments. You can get 5 for free. throughout the year. And with that, I will open it up for Q&A.
Thanks, Robin. That was awesome. There is a question in the chat about how our caregivers can connect with our registered dietitian if they want to have. Oh, you already put it in there.
Oh, no. Let me forward the slide here just a second, and that's on the next slide, actually. So for more information, you can visit the Nutrition Services website, and the link is here, or you can contact us at nutritionservices@imail.org.
Excellent. So Robin and I thought it would be fun if people would kind of share their experiences, you know, trying to mix it up with their families around plant-forward eating. You know, what was your experience, you know, when all of a sudden, you know, you made meatless chili, or maybe you pick a day of the week where you're going to only have fish, or maybe you're going to pick a day of the week where you're going to experiment with, you know, plant-based meals. So if you'd like to share, you can either raise your hand and I'll try and call on you, or you can just take yourself off mute and share a story. Jane, I love that. So Jane Sims shared that she made a vegetarian minestrone today for lunch this week, and her husband raved about it. Love that. Let's see. Sorry, I'm not very good with this whole hand raising thing. Let's see. Jessica, why don't you take yourself off mute? Allow Mike. There you go.
Thank you.
Sorry.
No, I'll just share that one of, you know, I'm part of a fairly kind of traditional meat and potatoes type family, and so I was interested in doing some more plant forward recipes, and wasn't sure what to expect, but actually one of the favorite recipes now is actually a totally meatless chili, and you'd be surprised that in a chili format how you can get away with things like bulgur and lentils, which I'm seeing in the chat, or even ground walnuts can really give the same texture and flavor profiles once you put it in a big pot all together as kind of a more traditional chili with meat. And so that's one of our favorite recipes, and it's just full of vegetables and walnuts. So we make that in the winter probably once a week.
That sounds great.
Yeah, I would love your recipe, Jessica, if you're able to share it.
Yeah, absolutely.
So let me share with the group. So as Robin mentioned at the top of the presentation, we are going to share some recipes associated with some of the menus that were part of her presentation. And those will get uploaded to the Healthy at Home website and to the Live Well webinar site where the presentation will be. So you'll have access to the menus as well as the recipes. And I want to also share with this group that while we probably won't be able to do this with every Live Well webinar, we are having a giveaway for this one. And so we will select a random webinar participant this evening who is going to receive a Plant Forward holiday gift basket. And so Patty Taylor will be in touch, and she will let the lucky person know when they can pick up their Plant Forward holiday gift basket. I can tell you that it will be at the Salt Lake LiveWell Center. So my apologies for caregivers who might be joining from St. George. I know it makes it a little difficult when we have giveaways that are up here in Salt Lake. We'll have to figure out a way to do it down in St. George as well. But yes, keep your eyes peeled on your emails, to see if you are the lucky person to score the Plant Forward holiday gift basket.
Yeah, and Dr. Joy, I see there's a few comments about the Beyond Meat, the Impossible Burger, that kind of thing. It is true that those products, those alternative meats, they are considered ultra processed. Some of them do contain higher sodium content, and so watch for that. I would just say, if you're having a hard time transitioning to Plant Forward, or maybe some family members are, it's something you can use to start that transition and then wean off of it. And so totally up to you. In some ways it's beneficial, like I said, for the environment and for our health, but then in other ways it is considered an ultra processed food. So I think we're gonna have to watch how people use that, and the findings as more people are starting to consume those types of products.
And I noticed that Elisa Solier put in the chat that I always share a Plant Forward recipe with our LiveWell Executive Steering Committee. Oh my gosh, I think I've been doing that for about 18 months now, and we met weekly for a while, then bi-weekly, and now monthly. I don't know, I've probably shared about 30 recipes, over that time, just as a way to, again, try and create this Plant Forward culture. So, when you're in your meetings and we're really thinking about our mission of helping people live the healthiest lives possible, think how you can be an ambassador for health, with your teams, and I love that we have the WOW Wednesdays, walk on Wednesdays, and groups are getting together to go for a walk, either before or during work. But maybe, try sharing some Plant Forward recipes amongst your team members. I'll also say that one of my friends kind of started a plant-based dinner group, and we've met a handful of times, and everybody brings a plant-based food, to a dinner, and then you have to share the recipe as well. And that's been a ton of fun, and I've gotten a lot of really great recipes from some great cooks, and had an opportunity to try them, with friends. So that's been a lot of fun. So you have to be creative about kind of how you're going to integrate a new way of eating into your life. Robin, any parting words?
No, I think you wrapped it up really well. Thank you so much. Just
All
really
right.
appreciate all the comments and the sharing of recipes. This is awesome.
It is. Thanks, everybody. We really appreciate your joining us tonight. And don't forget, Plant Saves Lives during the holidays. And keep an eye on your email. See if you were the lucky winner of our Plant Forward holiday gift basket. And we will meet again in December. I think our next webinar will be, I think it's around goal setting, but I have to admit, I forgot to look ahead. And then we'll conclude the year, I think, on December 15th. So probably won't see many of you. Have a very happy Thanksgiving, happy, healthy Thanksgiving, and thanks for joining us tonight. Bye-bye.